A bombshell courtroom showdown erupts as Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett faces off against FBI Director Kash Patel in a high-stakes hearing where the line between truth and authority begins to blur. Patel arrives holding a powerful, declassified document, one that bears Barrett's own signature and reveals a long-hidden illegal surveillance operation. A whistleblower steps forward, risking everything. What follows is a tangled plot involving the NSA, a possible government cover-up, and a courtroom thrown into disarray. Secrets once buried deep are now clawing their way to the surface, dragging the entire system into question. This is more than just a pursuit of truth. It's a stark reminder of the cracking foundation of public trust at the core of the nation's power structure. Before we dive in, take a moment to share where you're watching from and hit the subscribe button so you won't miss stories like this one. In recent weeks, a dramatic leak involving the NSA's unauthorized surveillance program has shaken the United States to its core. New evidence suggests that not just journalists, but political opponents and everyday civilians were targets of this covert operation. The backlash was immediate. Public outcry prompted Congress to swiftly establish the Special Committee on National Security Transparency, a group now tasked with investigating the full scope of the scandal. In Washington, the courtroom at the center of the storm becomes a spectacle, surrounded by tight security, metal detectors, undercover agents, and passionate protesters lining the streets. At the helm sits Justice Amy Coney Barrett, selected for her reputation as a fiercely independent thinker with deep constitutional expertise. With a composed demeanor and sharp gaze, she commands the room, under scrutiny from both liberal and conservative factions. Across from her stands Kash Patel, the FBI director and a former advisor to President Trump. He's the man who disclosed several key documents linked to the surveillance operation. Dressed in a modest gray suit, Patel walks in with an aura of certainty, carrying himself like someone with nothing to lose. As he enters, the room hushes, and every media lens swivels toward him and Justice Barrett. In the quiet tension, Barrett's voice cuts through clearly. "Mr. Patel, this committee demands that you disclose the source of these declassified materials. Transparency is not optional." Patel offers a faint smile, locking eyes with her. "I understand, Your Honor," he replies evenly. "But sometimes, truth has a way of startling those who aren't ready to hear it." Bright courtroom lights do nothing to warm the room's heavy atmosphere. It feels like a ticking bomb of pressure. Barrett clears her throat, each sound echoing. "Mr. Patel, these documents have stirred serious controversy. This committee is here to determine the extent of NSA overreach. We need to know where these came from. Who's responsible for the leak?" Patel shifts slightly, unfazed. "Your Honor, you're asking me to identify individuals who took enormous personal risks to reveal the truth. The more urgent question, in my view, is why these documents were concealed in the first place." The audience murmurs, while reporters scribble feverishly. Carter leans into his microphone with a biting tone. "This isn't your personal platform, Patel. You're not here to moralize. Are you just doing the White House's bidding?" Remaining calm, Patel responds. "Senator, I serve the American people. Not a president, not a party. My loyalty is to the truth. And if you're looking for puppets, maybe look at the analysts who were intimidated into silence for speaking out." Hayes nods slightly in agreement, offering Patel a half-smile. "Strong words, Mr. Patel, but don't dance around the question. Justice Barrett asked for names. Are you declining to provide them?" Barrett raises a hand, halting the exchange. "Senator Hayes, let me take it from here." She leans forward, her tone firm yet measured. "Mr. Patel, no individual is exempt from the law. If you refuse to comply, you jeopardize the authority of this committee. I will ask again. Who is your source?" Patel straightens, his previous composure shifting into laser focus. I'm not refusing, Your Honor. I'm protecting the brave individuals who trusted me. I've seen firsthand how agencies twist facts under the guise of national security to stifle dissent. That's the real reason I'm here. The audience reacts, gasps, and clicking cameras punctuate the moment. Sarah, a seasoned Washington Post journalist in the back, types rapidly, eyebrows knitting together. She's followed Patel's moves for weeks, suspecting he's more showman than savior. But now, his unshaken defiance gives her pause. She posts a breaking update. Patel defies Barrett. Tension erupts in courtroom. The tweet goes viral within minutes. Carter scoffs, tossing his pen down. Nice performance. But you're no whistleblower. You're cherry-picking documents to frame a story. Either give us the names or admit you're hiding the truth. Patel's jaw tightens, though his voice remains calm. Say what you will, Senator. The documents stand on their own. They prove that high-level figures authorized surveillance against those who spoke out. If you're more focused on exposing the source than the crimes themselves, perhaps you're the one trying to spin the narrative. Hayes stifles a chuckle, earning an icy glare from Carter. Barrett remains composed, though her trembling fingers betray subtle concern. She bangs her gavel. That's enough. Mr. Patel, you've made your case, but we need more than passion. We need hard evidence. If you have it, now's the time. Patel nods slowly. Gladly, Your Honor. But let me warn you, what I have isn't just proof. It's a reflection, and some people won't like what they see. A hush falls over the courtroom. Sarah stops typing. A nearby aide whispers, "He's got something big." They're right. Patel places a hand on a slim folder in front of him, fingertips hovering, savoring the moment before everything changes. Barrett narrows her eyes, her voice calm but serious. Proceed, Mr. Patel, but be mindful. This committee will not tolerate grandstanding. Patel gives her a respectful nod. No theatrics, Your Honor, just facts. He taps the folder, gently, and the truth inside will reshape everything we thought we knew. The crowd holds its breath. Carter crosses his arms in doubt, while Hayes leans forward, intrigued. The entire room shifts into a silence so thick it feels physical. Cameras zoom in. Sarah's hands hover over her keyboard, ready for what comes next. Outside, protesters chant louder, their voices thumping like a war drum against the walls. Barrett adjusts her glasses, her expression composed but patience wearing thin. Then show us. Let's see the evidence. Tension thickens. Murmurs die down. The only sound is the soft clicking of cameras and the tight breathing of those anticipating a revelation. Sunlight slices through the windows, casting long shadows on the marble floor. Every gaze is locked on Cash Patel. His hand remains on the folder, thumb tracing its edge, weighing the moment's gravity. Across from him, Barrett remains still, though her lips press tighter, signaling unease. She can sense this hearing is veering toward dangerous territory. The committee now appears divided. Senator John Carter grips the table, eyes icy, preparing for another attack. In contrast, Senator Lisa Hayes sits calmly, arms folded, watching Patel as if waiting for the final act of a performance. Sarah types with furious speed, her heart thudding to the rhythm of unfolding history. Barrett leans closer, her voice sharpened. Mr. Patel, we've allowed you considerable time. Without specifics, I'll consider this obstruction. What proof do you have? Patel arches an eyebrow, a faint smile playing on his lips. Not arrogance, but the look of someone who anticipated this very moment. Obstruction? No, Your Honor. I'm protecting people who dared stand against a powerful machine. The whistleblowers are NSA analysts who were threatened for telling the truth. If you want evidence, I'll give you something even more powerful than names. Carter growls. Stop dodging. Without names, your claims mean nothing. Hayes chuckles dryly. Let him speak, John. Or are you scared of what's coming? Carter flushes red. Don't play your cheap political games with me, Lisa. This isn't about politics. It's about justice. Barrett slams her gavel again. Senators, maintain decorum. She turns to Patel. Mr. Patel, we need substance, not speeches. Present your evidence. Patel nods, deliberate in movement. As you wish. He opens the folder, revealing a single document, the details still obscured. But before I hand this over, I ask, does this committee truly want the truth, or just a convenient conclusion? His words hang heavy in the air. Sarah pauses, pen suspended. Another reporter whispers, he's going all in. The whisper spreads. Carter slams the table. The post detonates across the internet. Within seconds, it's shared thousands of times. Sarah lifts her gaze, catching sight of Barrett, who now seems diminished, almost consumed by the chaos in the chamber. Sarah wonders whether the judge can withstand the impact, or if this moment will permanently alter her career path. Inside Barrett's mind, turmoil brews. She stares down at the memo, her own signature standing out like a wound. Memories of authorizing FISA warrants rush back. Heavy files she was told protected national security. Was she deceived, as Patel alleges, or is this all a calculated political ploy to dismantle her? A wave of anger stirs within her, not at Patel, but at the very structure that placed her in this impossible position. Her expression remains composed, a mask of steadiness, even as her hands subtly shake while flipping the page. Across from her, Patel is the embodiment of calm. He surveys Carter, Hayes, and the public gallery, like someone observing a storm from a safe peak. As Carter continues his tirade, branding Patel a traitor, Patel leans in. His voice is steady, yet powerful. Senator, I haven't betrayed anyone. These documents were legally declassified and validated by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. If you're looking for betrayal, consider those who spied on Americans without cause. Hayes applauds, an unusual gesture in such a formal setting, eliciting scattered chuckles from the audience. Carter spins toward her, his face red with fury. You're defending a saboteur of justice. This is an assault on democracy. No, Hayes shoots back, her tone icy. This is an assault on the secrets you and your allies are desperate to keep buried. Let him speak. Barrett bangs her gavel, though the sound is weak against the rising storm. I've heard enough. The committee is in recess for review. She turns to Patel, her eyes filled with a mix of outrage and something deeper, perhaps doubt or regret. Mr. Patel, if these documents prove false, you will be held accountable. Patel meets her gaze without flinching. I accept full responsibility, Your Honor. But I'm not the one who should be afraid. The system has dug its own grave. A fresh surge of chaos ripples through the room. Reporters surge toward the security line, desperate to photograph the files laid out before Barrett. A young aide shouts, "This is history," prompting nods and wide eyes from nearby onlookers. Outside, protest chants seep through the walls, like war drums. Sarah, her hands unsteady, types furiously. She sends an email to her editor. Publishing now. Patel just flipped the board. Barrett's unraveling. In the corner, a normally silent committee member, Senator David Tran, speaks for the first time. His voice is calm, deliberate. Mr. Patel, you assert these files were legally released. Do you have evidence they weren't altered? We need certainty. Patel's response is unwavering. Senator, each document was authenticated by ODNI. I've brought nothing unverified. I can provide the declassification logs right now if needed. Tran nods, though his eyes are cautious. We'll examine them. Understand that this doesn't just affect us, it reverberates through the entire judiciary. Patel offers a slight smile, not victorious, but knowing. I understand, Senator. That's exactly why I'm doing this, because the judiciary should not be a shelter for the abuse of power. Once again, the chamber erupts. Applause breaks out from one corner before security hushes the crowd. Barrett clutches the documents, her gaze sweeping over the gallery. Her eyes now show exhaustion, not just from the noise, but from losing grip over the narrative, one now spiraling beyond the courtroom and dominating social media. Patel's disclosure has gone viral. Sarah tweets again in a flurry of adrenaline. He's not backing down. Barrett calls a recess. No one listens. This is seismic. She looks up to see Barrett, standing alone amid the chaos. In that moment, Sarah feels an unexpected sympathy. Not for the powerful judge, but for a human being caught in an unforgiving storm. Barrett bangs her gavel once more, her voice cracking. This committee is now in recess. But the clamor continues. The public roars, committee members squabble, and Patel remains motionless. His eyes fixed on her, silently reminding her that truth, once released, cannot be confined again. Far from the stormy chamber, in a quiet apartment in suburban Virginia, Emma Carter huddles on her couch, the glow of her laptop casting shadows on her face. Her eyes, bloodshot from lack of sleep, remain glued to the live broadcast. A headline flashes, Kash Patel declassifies documents, rocking congressional hearing. Emma grips a cold coffee mug, her heart hammering. She's the whistleblower, the one who provided Patel with the documents. Now she feels both vindicated and terrified. Her apartment is a makeshift bunker, windows shrouded in curtains, her phone disabled to avoid tracking. She's relocated 3 times in the past month since transferring the files through an encrypted channel. As a former NSA analyst, Emma once believed in her role defending national security. That changed the day she uncovered an illegal surveillance program targeting Americans, journalists, lawmakers, and peaceful activists. The names chilled her. These weren't criminals. They were dissenters. She tried reporting it to her superiors. The response: delete the evidence, say nothing. Instead, she made copies and reached out to Patel, believing he had the courage to bring the truth to light. Now, as Patel dominates the screen, she feels a flicker of hope, tinged with dread. The consequences are real. A week earlier, she received a chilling email. Stay silent, or your family pays. She informed Patel, who promised protection. Yet in the darkness of her apartment, she's never felt more vulnerable. The doorbell rings suddenly, making her flinch and spill some coffee. Frozen, she checks the security cam. No one, just a delivery truck driving past. But the fear doesn't fade. Elsewhere, in a high-rise near NSA headquarters, another game is in motion. Robert Klein, Director of Intelligence, sits with a team of advisors. Footage of Patel's hearing plays on a screen. Klein, a gaunt figure with piercing eyes, drums his fingers on the table. Where did he get those files? Who leaked them? Discredit him immediately. Clara Evans, one of the aides, opens her laptop. Her tone is precise. We've prepared a counter-narrative. A fake source will claim Patel forged the files for political motives. News stories will go live in a few hours. Klein nods. Make sure it can't be traced. If we lose the whistleblower, we lose everything. What Klein doesn't realize is that Emma, his unseen adversary, is the linchpin to his downfall. Back in her apartment, Emma receives an encrypted email from Sarah, the reporter who watched the hearing live. Sarah had reached out after a tip-off about the secret surveillance program. Her message is brief. Patel shook the committee. I need source confirmation. Is it safe? Emma hesitates. Replying could increase her risk, but the truth must come out. She replies, "The documents are real. I'm the source, but I need safety guarantees." Sarah responds within minutes. "I'll protect your identity. Send proof and I'll publish. We'll bring them down." Emma retrieves a hidden flash drive, selects a folder containing surveillance logs, and sends them. She knows this choice might change history, or end her life. Meanwhile, Clean's disinformation campaign starts to unravel. Sarah identifies one of Clara's pre-written smear articles before it can be published. She reaches out to a trusted Washington Post editor who traces the article's origins to an NSA-linked account. With Emma's documents in hand, Sarah writes a scathing exposé revealing the smear campaign against Patel and validating the authenticity of the leaked files. Her article is set to publish just after the hearing, another grenade ready to detonate. Emma closes her laptop, the apartment now dim. Peering through a gap in the curtain, she sees the darkness outside creeping in. But inside, a small spark burns, not of safety, but of conviction. The truth she risked everything for is finally reaching the public. Patel, Sarah, Emma, each on separate fronts, yet unified in their defiance of a system that once seemed invincible. Outside the Capitol, the city is in upheaval. Protesters fill the streets, brandishing signs. Some chant, "Truth must prevail," beneath Patel's image. Others cry, "Defend justice," standing under a portrait of Barrett. Sirens, chants, horns and stomping feet blend into a discordant anthem, a reflection of a nation